对自己的这个brain health 会更好一点，就是多出来走一走这样子。那我们今天的讲师 Jennifer Scales 已经到达我们的现场，她很早就到了，然后在这边准备了很多的这个material for our audience to take. So let's start our today's seminar. Let's welcome Jennifer Scales. Introduce yourself for a little bit.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Too bad that we cannot get the material home.
Right.
I will leave it here for you. So
Oh,
next
okay.
time you're here, it will be here. Hi, I'm Jennifer Scales. I am here on behalf of the City of Bellevue to talk about lead and how to keep ourselves safer, our family safer, friends, and just to learn what to think about, what to ask, who to ask. And so I will leave information here. Next time you're here, you can pick it up.
OK, Jennifer Scales 她是代表了我们 Bellevue 市政府。那我们这2次的演讲，下个月还有1次的健康与安全的演讲是跟 Bellevue 市政府这边合作。那会请到蛮多的他们的教育讲师、专家过来跟我们讲到跟我们生活健康有关的一些议题。今天 Jennifer Scales 要跟我们讨论的是要怎么样预防铅对我们的影响。铅在生活中的存量高过我们大家的想象，比方说大家住的比较老旧的房子啊，或者是水管这些，其实里面通通都有。所以 Jennifer Scales 今天有带了一些小册子到现场来，然后这边演讲的一些资料他也有带来，所以今天如果在线上没有办法拿到的我们的讲师说他会留在这边，那之后有我们的会员有兴趣的话，也可以再过来跟我们索取。So
if we're ready, I will share my screen and we'll get started. And you can ask questions anytime. Just raise your virtual hand or come off mute and we will answer your question.
OK, 那今天的演讲呢，我们的讲师他很体贴，把所有的这个 PPT material 都已经变成我们的繁体中文字，但是他会用英文讲，所以我们会就是有一个段落一个段落。大致上的告诉大家说这个段落里面的内容是什么。
Okay. Make sure everybody's on mute.
Okay. 可是可以发来吗？发来讲，因为讲。所以您要这样子对着这边的荧幕还是要对？Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was fascinated.
Yeah. Sorry. Would you like to face to your screen?
Yeah, I was going to turn
on this screen.
Yeah.
On that screen.
I can do.
This one?
I think I can do.
I think Jennifer probably can face this part and hear live volume.
Yeah, so maybe I stand there and face
Yeah.
you because otherwise you look at my back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they are not here live, so
And we can start live.
yeah.
This.
That's perfect. Yes. All right. I think. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay. Thank you everyone for waiting while we get set up. Okay, we will get started. I want to make sure, can everyone on screen hear me?
不好意思，有没有人就是我们听得到讲师的声音吗？
可以，听得到。
听得到。
Yeah, we can hear it.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure there wasn't an echo. Sometimes we get a weird echo if there's too many.
Okay, no.
Thank you all. I am, again, City of Bellevue, talking about lead. And as we talk today, my screen is frozen. I apologize. I love technology. We will talk about what is lead. We'll talk why lead is dangerous. what to look for, how lead gets inside our body, how it gets in us, and how to prevent lead exposure. So those are our 4 topics. We will spend about 45 minutes, and then it may go longer if you have questions, and that's okay. So ask questions.
好，我们今天会，他刚刚有提到，就是我们在 PPT 上面看到的4个议题，那我们会大概花45分钟的时间来去做这个解说。那如果大家有问题的话，随时都可以举手，然后我们可以有比较及时的互动。We can have immediate interaction.
All right. So first, what is lead? Lead is natural. It is in nature. It is an element. So a natural element. In Latin, it's called plumbum. We call it lead. Other communities, other languages have different words. So lead is natural. Lead is an element. Lead is metal. And lead is toxic. So lead is dangerous. It can hurt us. It's toxic. You may wonder, how is lead used? It is in paint. That is the #1 place we see lead is paint. It is also in plumbing, so pipes, and sometimes in food. And that is very dangerous.
铅会为什么我们的生活环境中有铅呢？因为它常常被用在涂料或者是我们的热水管，然后常常有时候也会在食品里面出现。这就是刚才他所提到的说，我们在环境里面常常会碰到。
And lead is currently banned in house paint. So in house paint, after 1978, you will not find lead. Before 1978, you might find lead. So we're going to talk about paint a lot. It is still in paint on ships. And it is still on some paint in industrial areas, so not homes. Yes.
So Jennifer, can you give us some example of the food that might contain lead?
Yes.
Do we still have that in
We
the food?
do. Yes. Lead in food, we see it in food that comes from other countries. So some spices, and I have pictures. So some spices and some herbs, they add lead so that it lasts longer. We do not have lead normally in the food in the US. You'll see it on the news if it happens. They get caught, they get in trouble, they have to pay fines. But people, we find especially people moving to the US, bring food with them, or they order food to be sent because they remember it and they miss home. And that sometimes has lead. We do work with the county to do lead testing. And they will test the food. If they find lead, they'll let you know. And I have been at some of those tables and we found lead in rice. We found lead in herbs. And then we tell people
when they grow those,
it's added after.
add,
Yeah, and they add it so it lasts longer.
OK， 刚刚那个 Sophia 帮我们大家提出一个我也很有疑惑的问题，就是什么地方会发现 lead 在铅会在食品的哪一些食品种类里？那Jennifer 刚才有告诉我们大家说，其实在美国的食品，当地的食品是相对安全的，但是有一些食物是从国外进口的，尤其是一些香料或者是药草。那这些香料和药草，它会有一些铅被添加在里面，因为它可以保存的更久。所以，当你如果要买一些进口食品的时候，要特别的注意和小心。不过，美国的政府有时候也是会做一些抽查查验。那当查验到的时候，这些公司它就会面临一些罚款。但是当然了，这些罚款对我们没有用，我们是希望能够避免这样子。
Okay. So we know lead is around us. We know lead is toxic. It can hurt us. Why can it hurt us? Why is lead dangerous? So we will talk now about how we as people can be hurt by lead. And lead can hurt anybody. Lead can hurt women. Lead can hurt men. Can hurt babies, children, teenagers. lead can hurt anybody. And so doesn't matter how old, how young, who you are, lead is hazardous, lead is dangerous. But we think about it different ways, right? If you are an adult, it can affect your memory, it can affect how you think, it can give you digestive problems, it can make you feel sick, and it can cause pain. So it might cause muscle pain or joint pain, but it causes pain. So when lead gets in our body, it might do any of these. Sometimes it does nothing. It's just in us and we don't know. For babies and children, it's different. Babies and children have more risk because they are still learning, their brain is growing, their body, their whole body is still growing, and their behavior is different. I do not crawl on the floor or roll around on the floor. Babies do. And they put everything in their mouth. So their brain is growing, their body is growing, and they act different than us. And that makes it more dangerous for them.
OK， 铅会影响到我们很多地方，它影响到我们的消化系统，影响到我们的这个记忆，影响到我们的肌肉。刚才有提到说，有时候你会肌肉疼痛或者是关节疼痛，这些都有可能是铅在我们体内造成的一些影响。但是大部分的时候，当你摄取到一些铅的含量到身体的时候，你可能没有什么感觉，直到它对你造成了，你也不知道是为什么而来的疼痛或者是关节疼痛的时候，可能这个时候它就发生了影响。那么铅会影响到孩子的学习、成长和行为会更多，因为孩子的行为跟我们大人不一样，他可能还没有洗手就去拿东西吃，他在地上爬来爬去，很容易沾染到一些铅的粉末。
In a minute, we'll talk about where to find lead, but I want to make sure if there are any questions from our friends on screen or here about lead harming us. So we'll stop if there are any questions you can ask now about this part.
好，现在我们就是让大家看看有没有对刚刚之前的一些投影片有没有什么问题，比方说影响到身体的哪些部分，或者是说为什么对孩子的影响这么大？刚才我们
So Jennifer, yeah, I'm Grace. Jennifer, if we get the paint from the Home Depot and the Lowe's, so they are okay, right?
Yes, if you buy paint, new paint from Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere, it's okay.
Oh, okay. And then the second question is, what is the amount in? It's gonna amount of lead gonna affect our body.
Great question. Any lead. Lead is hard to talk about. There is no safe level of lead.
Oh,
Lead is always, even very small amounts, is poison for us.
oh,
The
okay.
more you have, the worse it is. But even a small amount is bad. So no.
Okay, so it's any amount, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
谢谢 Grace 刚才的问题。Grace 刚才问了2个问题，第一个是说，他如果从 Home Depot 或者是其他我们当地 local 的一些 supply 买的这个涂料会不会有问题？那我们的回答是不会。在美国这边，像这边的这些油漆涂料，新的这些油漆涂料是安全的，不会有铅的含量在里面。那第二个问题呢，就是问到说有没有什么安全的这个容许量？事实上铅它是没有任何的安全容许量。即便只是一点点，对我们的人体都会造成伤害，但是只是你不知道而已。
So we will now talk about. Oh, actually, were there any other questions?
还有其他问题吗？
Jennifer, is there a way that we can test how much lead may be in
Yes.
our body?
We will talk about that at the end, but yes, there is a blood test. The only way to know is a blood test. For children under 6, you should do a blood test if you're not sure. For us, you can ask your doctor. and tell them why you think you need it, and they will do a blood test. They will tell you how much lead, if any, is in your body.
好，刚刚 Sophia 有问到一个问题说，那这样我们可不可以知道我们身体里面到底已经铅中毒多少，或者是含量是多少？那我们的讲师的回答是说，其实我们完全没有办法了解我们的铅中毒的含量，除非只有就是做血液的测试。那这个血液的测试呢，你可以要求你的内科医师帮你去做这样的一个血液的测试，然后可能你就是要告诉他说，哎，为什么我会担心啊？可能我住在很古老的房子里，或者是说那个油漆啊，门窗的油漆通通都是很旧的涂料。那我现在觉得有需要，那你就可以跟你的内科医师提说，我需要做这个血液测试，他就会帮你做。OK， 还有其他问题吗？如果没其他问题，我们就可以往下。
So we'll talk more about places we find lead. The number one place we see lead poisoning in people is from paint. So if your home was built before 1978, it might have lead paint. Built after 1978, the paint was banned. So older homes, older buildings might still have lead paint. 1978 is the year to remember. That is the year 1978 is where we start thinking about lead, if you're older than that. There are a lot of homes in our area that are old. And so we look at the age of the home, and we'll do that together to see if we should be worried about lead paint. You may wonder why. Why put lead in paint? It helped it dry faster, and it helped it last longer. Most lead paint is on the outside of a building because it's stronger. So windows, doors, the area above your porch, areas like that. Not so much inside. So lead paint was on windows, was on doors, was outside. It's a very strong paint. So here, if we just practice, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where would you worry about lead paint? If this was an older home, let's say 1950. If this were an older home, where would you think to look for lead?
刚才 Jennifer 跟我们提到说，我们的铅最大的来源在哪里呢？铅最大来源在1978年建造的老旧建筑物，1978年以前建造的这些老旧建筑物的这些涂料里面常常会使用到。那为什么要用这些有含铅的涂料呢？因为它可以让你的油漆的这个持久度更高。所以在1978这个数字，大家可以记住一下。我们可以回去看一看我们的房子是不是在1978年以前还是以后建造的。1978年以后建造的房子就相对安全，就是安全许多，因为1978年是我们意会到铅对我们人体造成很多影响的那一个年份。那么这边有一个图片，让大家来动动脑找找看，我们老旧中的建筑物的铅到底在哪里？是
Any guesses? Yeah, any guesses?
有没有人有答案？1、2、3。
The wall. Like the wall, doors, window, the wall. Use the paint.
The windows, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, because all of them, because 1, 2, 3 need strong paint in an old home. But when we open and close the window, we rub the paint and we make dust, and the dust falls down. So 4 and 6 are because of dust from the window. It falls onto the dirt, and now lead is in the dirt. 5, also that handrail needs strong paint, and we rub our hand down it, and we break off paint, and so we get lead on the ground. So all of them might have lead.
OK， 我们这个答案，这张图的标准答案是1、2、3、4、5、6，通通都有哦。那1、2、3呢，是因为它是靠户外的，所以它需要它持久度比较高，所以它会用含铅的涂料在这个门上或者是窗户上的这个涂料上面。但是我们会用手去开门或者是开窗，所以它会有很多铅的粉末，含铅的这些漆的涂料的粉末会掉下来。那就是会掉在4和6的这边，那5呢是我们的这个handrail， 那它，因为我们手常常去触碰它，所以它也常常会有比较多的这个铅的涂料含在上面。
And again, lead paint, #1 source of lead poisoning. It is what we think about the most in our area. Again, anything that moves makes dust. Windows, doors, they rub the paint, and if it has lead, that makes lead dust. So when we use windows, when we use doors, that's when we're making lead dust. If you're not sure about your home or your building, you can look up the age. If you rent, if you own, doesn't matter, any building, you can look up daycare, you can look up a friend's house, you can look up any house in King County. And I have those directions, we'll email them to you, and I'll also show you right now how to do this.
OK， 我们可以自己去看看我们自己住的家里，或者是我们工作的地方的建筑物的建造的年份。那么等一下 Jennifer 会示范要怎么样去哪里找，然后怎么样找到我们的房子是不是在1978年以前建造的。
If you want to follow along on your phone, you can. So if you want to follow along as I do this, you can use the QR code and do this as I do it, or you can just watch me.
如果大家想要跟着做的话呢，大家可以扫这一个 QR code， 所以你扫了 QR code 之后呢，你就可以跟着 Jennifer 一起试试看。所以 Jennifer, can we stay?
Yep, it'll still do a share screen.
Okay, yes. I mean, they can scan it for the QR code.
Yeah. So we will switch real quick so I can show you. I'm just gonna make this small.
大家扫描好了吗？
There we go. So when you go to the website, you will see King County Parcel Viewer. Here, you click Start Viewer, and it lets you put in the address in this small box. It's very small. I apologize. I don't get to control the size. Very small, but you will enter an address.
Can we enter the address here?
I did that earlier.
We want to check it out.
Yes, so I put in your address here at this building. So you see the address, and now it turns it yellow. It takes me to the map, and it turns it yellow. And once you're here, there's a button that says Property Report. And I'll do this twice so we can translate the second time.
Okay.
Property Report will load a screen that tells me year built. That's all I need. Right there, year built, 1979. We are really close. We are very close. Probably totally okay. Maybe they used old paint, but I doubt it. So probably okay. Very close. So I didn't expect that when I saw it. Perfect example. Right? Yeah. So 1978 and older, we would think about lead. 79 forward, okay. So we are right on the edge. So I'll do this one more time. If you'd like to translate.
好，我们 Jennifer 会再帮我们示范一次。那这一次我会用中文跟大家解释一下我们的步骤。第一个步骤呢，可能就是拿 扫一下那个 QR code。So it's
yes, let me put that up.
所以大家有没有需要等待大家扫 QR code 的？你们可以扫完 QR code 之后，你就会进入那个画面，然后进入画面之后，就可以在那个很小很小的那个框框里面，把你们家的住址打进去。大家都准备好了吗？好，那么当你扫完 QR code，你就会跳到这一个画面。那跳到这个画面的时候呢，请你在那个小小的长长的框框，现在游标在的地方，大家有看到吗？The cursor?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Now it's bigger. 所以我们可以在那小小框框里面把家里的住址打上去。那我们做示范的呢，就是我们现在东区的这个住址1592118街这个住址。那打完住址之后呢，你就 click enter， 然后你就可以看到有一个黄色的那个区域，那就是看到那个黄色的标签之后，再把黄色的那个 mark 的那个区块点一下，我们就可以看到这里，就可以看到我们要看的 building 的一些建造的资讯。那我们需要注意的只有什么时候建造。我们很刚好，我们就是在这个边缘的后面一点点，不是在边缘的前面哦，所以我们这栋 building 是相对是安全的，是在1979年建造的。刚刚 Jennifer 有提到说，1978年以前是要思考它是不是会使用含铅的涂料。那1978年以后呢，相对来说是比较安全，除非说它那时候的涂料有用到一些很旧的涂料哦。
So you can go with any building. You can, your address, any building, and I will make sure that you have the directions. We left some here, but also we will email them. So you have directions. You can do this without me.
所以我们还有这个可能 okay. Maybe you can show here
Yeah.
because you are spot your
Yeah, so we've got it here with all the directions. It's front and back, and we have the website on here. You can also use Google to find it. Just King County parcel will show up.
Okay.
Okay, so once you know how old your building is, you can think about lead paint. If it's just built 2022, you're good. You're fine. 1950, I think about lead paint. My home, I rent a basement in a very old home. I think about lead. I know there's lead on my outside paint. And so I have to think about lead when I clean. So, do we want to pause?
好，所以说，如果知道怎么样去查我们的建筑物的建造年份的话，就有一个好处，就是你如果是1978年以前建造的房子呢，你可能要更稍微带一点注意力，就是当你在清洁的时候，尤其是在清洁房屋的时候，要特别的注意怎么样清洁。我们等一下会讲到如何清洁。那如果你的房子是2020年、2022年才建造的话，你一点点都不用忧心。
So one of the ways lead gets into our bodies is through dust. And when we think about dust, we think about our nose and breathing in, and we think about our mouth because we also breathe through our mouth. So dust gets into our body. If the dust has lead, that is the problem. So normal dust, you may have allergies or you may just not like normal dust, but lead dust is dangerous. And that is the difference.
OK， 那我们要了解铅怎么样进入体内啊？铅有2种途径，第一种是吸入，因为我们呼吸的时候会呼吸到一些灰尘。那如果没有含铅的灰尘，这是没有问题的，除非你是对灰尘过敏。那有含铅的灰尘才会对你造成影响。那第二种途径呢，就是经由我们的嘴巴吃进去。那我们不会故意去吃那个有铅的东西，但是我们手在拿食物的时候，手上可能会被一些灰尘污染到，那再去用手拿食物，就很容易把铅吃到我们的体内。
Again, thinking about babies and children, they are the most exposed. They crawl in the dust. And so they might eat it, they might breathe it, they might touch it, and sometimes lead is in water, and so we have to think about if they drink it. Here, we don't worry about lead in water, but if anyone heard about Flint, Michigan, it's in the news. We hear in the news about lead in water. Nobody talks about lead in paint, and that is why we are talking about lead in paint.
OK， 尤其是小朋友的行为和我们不一样，他们会在地上爬。那在地上爬行的时候，他就很容易会接触到很多的粉尘，那他可能会吃到，或者是呼吸，或者是触摸，然后触摸过之后呢，又拿食物放在，或者是吃手，这样就很容易碰到。那有时候在饮水里面可能也会有，但是在我们这边的这个区域是安全的，我们的饮水里面是没有含铅的。
So lead dust. If we are working in a home, maybe I want to fix my home, want to make it look better. When we sand something, we make dust. When we cut something, we make dust. When we drill something, we make dust. So if you are in an older home and you want to sand or cut or drill, please go to this website and learn how to keep yourself safer first, because we don't want you to make lead dust and then breathe lead dust.
OK， 如果刚刚大家在查询的时候发现自己住的地方是1978年以前建造的，那你可能又需要做一些小工程，有时候需要重新粉刷，或者是你需要清洁，或者是要切割，或者是钻孔的一些动作的时候呢，请大家要遵循这个 EPA 的一些规定，它会告诉我们说，我们要做这些动作的时候要怎么样做才能够让自己免于铅中毒的危害的罪行。
And I will mention their website comes in many languages. And I checked, and they actually have a Chinese translation.
这个也有中文的，很方便。这个 EPA 的这个规定有中文的，所以 will we check later?
Yeah, I can send the link.
Okay.
Yeah. So other examples. Not everyone is sanding their home, but we all clean in different ways. If you have an older home, when you have older paint, you have dust. When you sweep, you're pushing the dust in the air. So when we push the dust in the air, now we can breathe it in. So if you live in an older home, no sweeping, because sweeping pushes dust. It doesn't get rid of it. It just pushes it in the air. Another thing is if you have old paint, look to see if it's peeling. If your old paint is peeling, that is a bad problem. So look to see if it looks good or if it looks like it's falling apart, because that can be exposure. That can make more dust, or you could accidentally eat the paint.
OK， 所以如果大家是住在1978年以前的老旧建筑物中的时候，然后你又想要清扫房子的时候，千万不要用扫地的，因为扫把会把所有的粉尘全部都扫起来。那在清扫的时候，在清洁的时候要特别注意，等一下我们会讲说要怎么样清洁哦。然后再来就是可能要注意一下你这个涂料是不是有一些剥落的状况，如果有一些剥落的状况的时候要更小心，因为剥落会让这些有含铅的涂料制造更多的粉尘，然后这些含铅涂料也更容易被我们人体接触到。
And one last example, again, we talk about babies a lot because they're still growing. I'm done growing, you're all done growing, but they are still growing. So we think about old paint, we think about dust on the floor, and then toys on the floor, babies on the floor, and they are getting exposed to lead. So we have to think for them. They don't think for themselves. We have to make the choices for them.
OK， 尤其是对孩子来说，他们的接触量会比我们成人 更多，尤其他们第一个接触量会比较多，然后第二个他们也正在成长当中，对他们的影响也会更大，所以要特别注意他们是不是会接触到涂料中的铅，或者是很多的灰尘上面，或者是玩具上面的这些可能会含铅的这些玩具，大家都要特别的帮孩子们注意，因为孩子可能自己完全不了解这些危险性和这个如何避免，那我们成人要特别帮他们注意。
Okay, that's a lot about paint. Someone asked about food earlier. So I'm going to share a few other sources of lead, and then we'll stop for questions. So I'll show you a few more examples, and then we'll stop for questions. We think about lead in paint, that's number one, but we also think about lead in dust. We think about it in ceramics, so pottery. We think about lead in pipes, not so much here, but it can happen in pipes. Batteries, car batteries, big batteries, not remote control batteries, but big batteries. Makeup can have lead, and even some metal fixtures like metal lights or metal poles can have lead. So lead can be in a lot of places. I'll show a few pictures. And again, remember, paint is number one, but we might see lead in spices. We might see lead in pots from other countries. We might see lead old toys. Old metal toys have lead sometimes. Some makeup, even some plastic toys that are shipped here can have lead. And so we look for products that we know are from the US, don't have lead, and we think about how old it is. You can always get it tested if you're not sure. So here are just a few examples. I'm going to put this slide up, but I do want to stop if there are questions. This is just some more products, again, spices, ceramics, pots, things like that. Are there any questions about where we might find lead or how to look up how old a house is? I'll pause and give us a chance.
OK， 我们会在这边停留一会儿，然后看看大家有没有什么问题。那刚才已经有提到说，铅的来源有非常多种，最大最重要的一个来源就是我们建筑物上面的涂料，不管是内部或者是外部的部分其实我们内部的这个漆的涂料是比较不会有含铅的疑虑，但是它可能会飞到房子里面来。然后再来就是在化妆品里面可能也会有，或者是我们使用的一些香料或者是药草这个里面。然后再来就是他刚才我们有提到，就是陶这个瓷器里面可能也会有那一些比较老旧的玩具，或者是一些进口的玩具，或甚至是塑胶玩具的，因为塑胶玩具可能它上面有一些涂料，塑胶玩具上面的涂料可能也会有。所以我们在这边要就是接受大家的问答，接受大家的问题，看看有没有大家对于这些你觉得哪些会有什么铅的来源的部分有没有什么问题？对，再补充一点，他刚才有提到电池，不过那电池指的是比较大型的电池，不是我们平常在用的这个 remote 的这些电池，或者是平常我们看到的常用的这些比较不会有铅的含量的疑虑，大型的电池比较有。就看看大家有没有问题要跟。
So Jennifer, why they need the lead in the toys, in cosmetics things, in the spice? Why they need?
Great question. Different reasons. Old toys, we didn't know. We didn't know that lead was as dangerous as it is. So as we learned more, we changed the rules. So old toys still have it. Plastic toys, it's still added because it keeps them strong but soft. Soft plastic toys that can bend sometimes have lead. It keeps it strong but soft.
Okay.
And then for food, it makes it last longer. So you add lead and it can last longer. And for
like a preservative?
Yes, like a preservative, yes.
Oh,
So not a good one, but
no.
it's cheap. And so people will add it.
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
And
thank you. I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, makeup, it makes it last longer. So like eyeliner,
Oh,
henna sometimes has lead.
oh,
It lasts longer that way.
okay. Thank you. Nice to know that. Yeah.
OK，
Could
Can
you
I have a
have one
question?
question?
好，可以等我先把这个，就是先跟大家解释一下，不好意思，稍后一下。刚刚 Grace 问了一下说，为什么在这些化妆品啊、香料啊、玩具里面要加铅？我们的回答是，化妆品和这些香料都能够让它比较持久，尤其是在助晒剂或者是你的这个这个眼线笔什么之类的，它会更容易出现，因为它可以让你的那个妆容持续的比较久。然后
还有玩具。
对，然后玩具的部分呢，老旧的玩具是因为那时候我们不知道铅那么危险，那有一些新的玩具它还是会加铅，是因为它能够让它更柔软一点，那更柔软它可能强韧度会增加。OK， 好，那个 Lily 刚刚有问题哈，是吗
Yeah， 我想知道那个 thermal 那个 bottle 是安不安全呢？Is it safe to use the thermal bottle for the hot water?
Oh. So to add hot water to which kind of bottle? Like a plastic?
Thermal 就是保温杯，我们经常用的那种。
So
Thermos.
Thermal bottle for hot water and cold water.
Yes, most of the time, yes. Very rare would there be lead in that. And you can check the EPA website, Environmental Protection Agency, has a list of what they call recalled items that have lead, if you're not sure. Most things now, no lead. It would be a very old bottle, very old if it had lead. So most things are okay. We don't want you to be scared of everything around you. It's old things or things that are being brought in from outside the US that may not have the same rules. Africa, the Middle East, parts of Europe, no rules on lead. So we see products come with people when they move here that have lead.
How
But
about the China?
Some in China.
Yeah.
It depends on the countries and the province. Some have very strong rules, some have no rules. That's why it's so hard to talk about. There's no one answer. The answer is maybe.
Yeah, but when they import, are there anyone to check the quality?
Yes, so new imports, and those make the news. So many years ago, 12 years ago, some toys came with lead and it was in the news and none were sold. We worry more if a family brings something because that's not checked. Companies are checked. But if I move here from Afghanistan with items, no one checks my items. Those might have lead. So we think more families, not businesses.
OK， 刚才我们的Lily 和 Grace 有问到，就是thermal bottle 那个保温水瓶会不会有问题？我们的回答是，目前现在的保温水瓶都是安全的，除非你是用很旧以前的这些 bottle 才有可能会有这样子的问题。然后有一些产品呢进来这边的。那我们大家还要再注意的就是，因为在美国这边已经有这个对铅的这个含量的控制的标准，但是其他的国家可能没有，所以当我们在使用进口的产品的时候要特别注意。但是如果你是去商店，一般正常商店去买进口产品，可能你不用这么担心，因为这些公司呢会去注意。但是如果你是从国外直接带过来的时候，可能就要小心了，因为有一些国家它对这些铅的含量是没有设立一些标准的，比方说像一些欧洲的国家，或者是非洲，或者是其他的刚才要提到说，比方说阿富汗这些国家，它 它对这些铅的含量的标准，它是没有设立一些标准，所以我们要注意的是，我们自己可能会碰见这些个人携带进来的物品的上面有可能会有铅。那我们也可以到 EPA 这个网站上面去看看有没有哪一些 item 哪一些产品呢是已经被叫回来回收的。那这些产品被叫回来回收这些产品，我们就要注意不要去使用它。
我还有一个问题，就是刚才 Jennifer 说那个1978年以前的房子，那个水管都是含铅的。那现在有很多房子都比那个房子老，那我们用水怎么才可以避免这种
Okay, she's worried about
unsafe?
yes, she's worried about the pipe built before 1978. So is there any possibility that there was lead on the pipes, so the water will be contaminated for drinking?
Great question. So lead pipes are different. They don't have the same rule as paint. So 1978 is just paint. That rule is only for paint. Lead pipes, most of the pipes here, the water is tested, always tested. So we would know if the pipes under the ground for the main area had lead, and we don't see it. The only time you might think about it is in your building. Once it's out of the ground and the water is in your pipes, in your building, under the sink, to the toilet, to the shower. If those are very old metal, maybe. Most now are plastic, the white PVC plastic, or metal with no lead, so steel or something. But the big pipes under the ground around Bellevue, no lead. We test the water to make sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
对，1978年以前建造的房子，要担心的就是只有涂料的部分。关于含铅的水管，在这个区域里面是没有这个问题，因为Bellevue 市政府它都会去测试水中的铅含量。那这边的铅含量通通都是完全是安全的，是干净的。但是要小心注意的就是家里面的，如果水龙头啦，或者是你有一些五金配件，它是很旧的，那或许你可能从你那个五金配件出来的这些东西，水管出来的，有可能就会有，所以可能要注意的就是自己家里面的这个部分。那外面的这些大的水管是都不会有含铅的含量的问题。Jennifer, can I have a question?
Yes, of course.
So you mentioned about the water in Bellevue area is safe, but some of our members do not live in Bellevue area. So how about the whole King County? Is that all safe for the King County's residents?
Yes, King County, Snohomish County. The way our water works, it all comes from lakes, if you don't know. So our water comes from lakes. It's cleaned at a facility and then put in pipes. And in those big pipes, they're testing water always, all through King County, up in Everett to all of the area. So they test the water before it gets to your house.
Okay.
And so the only time lead would be in it is from your old pipes in your house, but very rare, very rare.
OK， 好，我刚才就是也问了一个就是问题，就是我们的会员也有不是住在 Bellevue 的，他刚才我们讲师有提到说 King County 的所有的这些县郡，他们都已经测试过，都是安全的，不管是在 Snohomish 或者是 Snoqualmie 这些地方。King County 通通都是已经测试这些大水管都是没有含铅的。There's one more question about the family therapy. What does the family therapy means?
For the
lead, for the I think maybe the spices or the
yes, okay.
or the
One of the words I think that was listed. So we say we call them cultural remedies, or kind of not Tylenol, not aspirin, but you know how to make something to make your head better. Sometimes people use special dirt or parts of trees. When it's made from soil or something in the dirt, sometimes people add things like lead because they think it makes your blood stronger, or we see in other cultures that you make your own remedies, you make something that makes you feel better, and we don't always know what's added to those. So some, not all, some add lead. And so we think about what types of ingredients, because it's not always listed. If your friend makes it and gives it to you, there's no label. You don't know what's in it. So sometimes it might be something safe, but we worry about lead.
OK， 那个刚才我在 chat 上面有看到有人对家庭疗法有一点问题，所以我们有就是跟 Jennifer 讨论。
May I ask some question?
好，我可以稍后一下下线好吗？那家庭疗法其实就是讲到就是我们一些传统的药草，我们常常会我们可能会用一些传统的药草来让自己比较舒服一点，中药啦，或者是这个印度还是这个中东的地区可能会有一些这种传统的疗法。那这些疗法有时候我们不知道它的来源的时候，可能就是有可能不是一定啊。那这个是指的是家庭的疗法。对，不好意思，您说另外一个 question。Yes.
Which species have lead? Then could you make for example, what kind of species we need to be careful?
I wish I had one answer. This is the hard part of lead. We have seen it just this month in cumin. We have seen it in turmeric. We have seen it in cinnamon. We see it in any spice. These are just ones we know because people brought them to an event to be tested, and we could tell them this has lead. We see it, they're usually packaged goods that people brought with them from other countries or had someone send to them. So a friend back home sent some cumin to them. It wasn't from the US, it wasn't tested in the US, and that had it. It can be in any spice. That's what makes this hard, but it is rare. It can be, not it is.
OK， 刚刚问到说哪一种香料比较有可能会有这个铅的含量，那我们的回答是不了解，不一定，每一种都有可能。他就说刚好在这个月他们就有测到有一些香料，就是孜然，然后姜黄跟肉桂里面它都有测到有含这一些铅的含量。但是也不用太担心，因为其实很少见啊。May I ask a question?
Yes.
If you buy those spices from the local supermarket, will we be totally safe? Or
yeah, those.
Should we buy organic items or?
Yep.
No?
No, you can buy. If you buy it here, you're probably, except for very, very rare, and it would be in the news. Very, very rare issues here. It's more, again, someone bringing it, we don't test, a friend mailing a friend, we don't test.
Okay.
When you sell to the US, it gets tested.
Mm-hmm.
So we sometimes miss something, but it's very rare.
OK， 我刚刚也问了一个帮自己治肥问了一个问题，就是如果我在当地的 supermarket 买的东西是不是就安全了？那我们的回答是对。如果你是在我们现在我们这边当地的这个超级市场买的，就是基本上是安全，只有因为美国的因为政府会去做测试，只有非常稀少的状况会有漏网之鱼，但是相对于从国外进口或者是朋友从哪里知道送你的这些东西来说，这个是相对安全的。
And to your question, even organic can have lead. Lead is natural. So organic doesn't mean perfect. So if you buy in a store, very, very low risk. If a friend mails you or you bring something, just pay attention. It might have lead.
OK， 对，刚刚我还有提到问到说，那是不是买有机的会比较安全？那我们的讲师的回答说没有，有机并不表示就是最好的，所以 但是基本上你在超市买的都是安全的。那如果朋友寄来的，或者是从国外买入的进口的这些东西，你可能就是要稍微用心一下，稍微注意一下，这样就可以了。谢谢大家的问题。
So now that everyone is worried, we will talk about ways to prevent lead exposure. I don't want people to be afraid of spices or to be afraid of paint. So we will talk about some ways to keep yourself safer. So ways to prevent exposure. 3 big things. Just be aware. This is part 1. Be aware. Learn. Ask questions. You all are doing that. And then keep learning. When I leave, keep learning. Go on the internet, ask friends, talk to doctors, learn more. And then share. Share with each other what you learn, share with your friends, share with family, because that is how other people learn. So these are the 3 big ways to prevent lead exposure. I will share other actions in just a moment.
OK， 那我们要防止自己暴露在铅的危险下面，有3个步骤。第一个就是要小心注意，我们现在大家都已经达到这个小心注意，了解这个重要性，而且有互相询问问题了。然后第2个就是主动，然后第3个就是要分享资讯，还有一直不断的持续吸收新的资讯进来，因为我们可能不时会有一些哪里可以就是能够 update 一些新的资讯。
Okay, some of these you may already do, which is great. Number 1 thing, take off your shoes. When you come home, take off your shoes. The reason we walk around, there might be lead dust. We walk by other buildings with lead dust. It's along our roads from our cars sometimes because batteries and gas might have lead. So take off your shoes. Great way to keep lead out of your house. Take off your shoes. Number 1 way you can help.
OK， 第一件事情就是把鞋子脱掉。回到家的时候就要把鞋子脱掉，因为你在外面走路的时候，你会接触到一些大型，刚刚有提到汽车的电池 car batteries 可能会有一些铅漏下来，那你就会踩到，或者是说有一些油上面的这些铅被你的鞋子踩到，那所以在家门口就把鞋子脱下，能够预防把这些铅带到家里的环境里。
Another one, wash hands. I hope we all wash our hands, but we touch things all day. We touch rails, we touch buildings, we touch everything. Wash your hands. Teach little kids to wash their hands so that they do it when you're not there. So wash your hands, teach little kids to wash their hands.
好，再来就是洗手。那除了自己要洗手，也要记得叫小朋友提醒孩子要记得洗手的重要性。
Wash toys. Again, babies are on the floor, toys are on the floor. Wash plastic toys, wash soft toys.
不管是硬的或者是软的，这些玩具都要好好的把它清洗干净，因为尤其是玩具它会散落在地板的角落四处，所以要把它清洁干净。
If you live in an old home, so before 1978, older home, don't sweep. Use a wet sponge, use a mop, I live in an old home, I use this. It tracks the dust. It does not push the dust, it tracks the dust. So you can mop, wet sponge, cloth, track the dust, don't push the dust.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Can we use vacuum?
Vacuums are great. Yes.
Vacuums are great.
Vacuums are great. Anything to hold the dust. So yes, vacuums, awesome.
好，刚才提到的就是说要怎么样预防暴露在这样的铅的粉尘上面，也就是千万不要用扫把扫地。那如果需要扫地的时候呢，就用静电拖把，或者是湿的海绵、湿的抹布。那还有就是刚才我问的，就是说可不可以用吸尘器？他说吸尘器很棒，因为吸尘器可以把灰尘集中在那边，不会让它四散。
If maybe you work somewhere around lead, construction, road work, mechanic, even yard work. If you work around lead, change your clothes before you come home so that the lead doesn't come home with you. And so one thing is take off shoes, change your jacket, but try not to bring lead home.
It's time to prevent from.
Yes, to prevent from bringing it home. Yeah. Yep. And if you can't change at work, change as soon as you get home. Get home, change right away.
OK， 还有就是换衣服啦。如果你在有一些户外工，尤其是在户外工，就是有一些，比方说在做这个园艺的工作，或者是或者是有接触到一些工地的时候，你回去的时候一定要先把鞋子脱了，然后把衣服也尽快把它脱下来，更换干家里面的衣服。
Also, if you work with lead or someone in your family works with lead, wash the clothes separate. Same machine is okay, but not your clothes and baby's clothes, or your clothes and pillow cover, or your clothes and your daughter's clothes. Wash work clothes separate. Same machine is okay though.
那这个刚才提到说，如果是在这个是比较特殊啊，如果说你的工作是会容易暴露在含铅的环境当中的时候，才需要这样做。那回家把这一些工作的服装单独的清洗，不需要不同的洗衣机，只要不同的洗衣的程序，也就是你可以单独洗工作服，然后洗完之后拿出来晾干或者是烘干，然后再洗家里面的衣服，千万不要跟衣服混着在一次的洗程里面完成。
So these are simple things we may already do. Most of us already wash our hands, take off our shoes. It's just to remember why it's important so that we help teach others and share what we know. And so here are the list of things that you can do. There are other things. You can have a longer list, but these are the basics to think about. And a quick activity just to see how we're doing. Imagine older home, older than 1978, and I want to clean and prevent lead. What might I do? What choice or choices could I make?
好，我们来小测验一下，看看大家睡着了没有？这边
A，
有人要回答吗
我觉得是 A 吧。
？A，
Yeah, definitely. I could mop, I could
还有吗？
vacuum, anything to trap it. Any others that people see that might help with lead?
C and D.
Yeah, C and D. If someone takes off their shoes, less dust, right? Less dust for me to clean if they take off their shoes. D, definitely around baseboards or windows where I can't put a mop, a sponge might help, or a wet rag. And B will even help if you have people dust off their shoes, and then if they take them off inside, that's it. So all of these, the more we can do, the better. So we call it layering. The more we can do, the better.
好，这个的答案就是 A、B、C and D。如果你做的越多呢，你的风险就越小。OK，
And I just wonder because taking off your shoes is not American tradition.
It is
So I just wonder, how do you do it?
you guilt them. No, most people, if you ask, will do it. And so I just ask, because I have carpet, so that makes it a little easier.
Yeah, usually.
And so it's a habit. We have to teach our friends all the time. You just have a place. People who know you know. But it is cultural, yeah. And so it's learning, and it's
because it's for us. we're kind of afraid to ask them, especially people
Yep.
remove their shoes because we think it's not.
It's totally okay to ask. And now you have a good reason.
Okay.
You can say, I'm worried about lead. Take off your shoes. And it might be other reasons, but people be like, okay. My friend taught me, she's from Hong Kong. She taught me to have house slippers. And I went out and bought some house because my feet were cold all the time. So now she keeps house slippers for me at her house. So when I take my shoes off, I can put on slippers. But don't be afraid to ask people. Your safety is more important than their shoes.
When I say, please remove your shoes.
Yeah, you can have a mat that says it.
Yeah.
You can have a picture, but your safety, your family safety is more important than their shoes. So always feel okay asking.
OK， 刚刚 Sophia 帮我们大家问了一个文化差异上面的问题，我觉得这个问题真的是，刚刚 Jennifer 也说这个问题真的是很棒，就是说，因为其实我们有提到 C 是要 take off your shoes， 把鞋子脱下来，但是我们知道就是在我们美国人当地人他们是不习惯进室内去脱鞋的。那进室内脱鞋呢，我们有时候也不好意思告诉他说，哦，我们要把鞋子脱掉这样子。那 Jennifer 告诉我们一个好办法，希望他们把鞋子脱掉的好办法，就是说，哦，我们很担心会有铅的含量进到家里来，可不可以麻烦你把那个鞋子脱掉，再进到家里面，比较不会把这个铅的这个粉尘带进来，这是一个好办法，顺便叫他把鞋子在外面脱下来。那要不然呢，其实也可以就是准备一个室内的拖鞋这样子，或者我看到还有人说，可以提供一个鞋套 ，use a coat, a shoes coat.
Oh yeah, the slip on.
Yeah, slip on. 刚才也有会员提供一个好办法，就是在家里准备一个鞋套给他们其实也是可以的。OK，
Alright.
还有其他的问题吗 ？Are there more questions?
Oh, yeah. We'll do one more example and then talk about the blood test that was asked earlier. If you have kids, or maybe they just visit, maybe they're not yours and they just visit, this is still important. How can you help protect kids and babies? What action could you do?
A, B, C, D.
All of them.
Yeah,
It's all of them. Yes, you're noticing the pattern. It's layers, all of them. The more you do, the better. Again, we see the shoes, we see washing hands, we see washing toys. Even if they just visit, even if your house isn't old, these are good habits, because as they grow up, they may live in an older home. So teach them when they're young, even if your house is not one we're worried about. These are really good behaviors to learn, because they will not always be in your home or in your building. They may be in an older building.
OK， 这个提供我们一个很好的观念为了要限制幼儿接触，我们这个 A、B、C、D 都要做。大家会员都已经就是发现了他的这个思考模式，所以我们都能够很快的回答出正确答案。那刚才他也提到一个很好的观念，就是一定要教孩子洗手，常常洗手。就算我们现在不是住在比较老旧的房子里，你怎么知道他长大了之后，他在青少年的时候，他会不会住在这样比较老旧的房子？如果你从小培养他随时要洗手的这样子的一个习惯，以后他都会很顺利的，就是在不同的环境中都能够减少他自己在暴露在含铅的环境中。
So now what? This is our last section. We're almost done. Thank you for your time. But if you are worried, if after today you're thinking, oh no, I may have lead, what do I do? And we started with this question, which is perfect. It comes full circle. If you are worried that you or someone you care about has lead in their body, get a blood test. That is the only way to know. Not everyone has pain. Not everyone feels sick. If you're worried, get a blood test. Your doctor can help you with this. They can answer questions I may not know. And most health insurance will cover it. So Medicaid, Medicare, they will cover it. So if you're worried, get a test.
OK， 如果大家担心自己有暴露在含铅的环境当中了的话呢，怎么办？就请我们的家庭医师，就去看医师，然后医师就会告诉他说我们很担心，那医师就会帮你做这个验血的，看看铅的含量如何的这样子的一个检测。那大部分的保险都有 cover Medicare 或者是其他的一般的医疗保险，大概都会 cover 这个验血的这个检验的费用，所以如果担心的话，就是约一下医师去验血吧。
And again, we've said it a lot. We are most worried about children. Children 6 and younger, we're the most worried about. So if you think a child you know or a child in your family has been exposed, maybe older buildings, maybe older daycare, talk to their doctor about a blood test, because when they're still growing, we want to know if they have lead in them. So we're worried when they're growing. That's the scariest time for lead.
OK， 如果担心孩子或者是孙子的这些已经有接触到铅的话，要赶快采取行动，让他们去验验看是不是身体里面的铅的含量是有比较高一点点。因为对孩子来说，他们还正在成长，他们的脑部也在发育。如果已经有接触到这么多的铅的含量，会对他们造成比较多的影响。
And again, 1978. Look at the parcel viewer, use it. That is lead poisoning from paint is the most common. So know how old the buildings are if you have young children in your family or young children that you spend time with. Because children don't often show any signs of lead. They don't have the words to tell us that they think they've been exposed. They don't know if they've been exposed, and they don't usually show any symptoms. They don't look sick, they don't act sick, but there might still be lead.
OK， 所以验血是唯一最好的办法，能够了解自己或者是孩子的身体上里面是不是有铅的含量的问题。对，因为很多是不会出现任何不舒服的，但是已经有一些铅的暴露的问题产生了。
And that is our talk today. So I will answer any questions I can, and we will share all of these resources in an email, but I'll leave them here too. And there are some websites you can click in the PDF to see them if you want. These are all active, you can see them. But I will answer any questions that I can. Sometimes the answer is I don't know, but I will try.
OK， 我们现在我们的 present 今天主要的 present 到这边，那想说看看大家有没有什么问题。May I have one question?
Yes.
I noticed that from our conversation through email, I noticed you got a document to say, what can I do if I have been exposed to lead? I mean, I can take some fresh foods with calcium.
Yeah, so, yep, some of the things that your doctor, if you get a blood test and your doctor says, yes, you have lead. The bad side is if I got exposed to lead when I was little and now I'm old, it's not going to come out of my body. I can make sure no new lead comes in, and I can take care of my body using fresh vegetables and eating healthy, but I can't get the lead out. We worry about little kids because lead, your body doesn't know what it is, and it thinks it's calcium, and it puts it in our bones, and it puts it in with us. But if you get a little kid and they have lead, and then you give them healthy food and protein, it kind of dilutes it. It makes the lead less strong because you're putting good stuff in. So it doesn't take the lead out, but it gives them a bunch of good stuff so that as they grow, the lead has less impact. And so eating healthy, and your doctor will give you other things that can help, but making sure you eat healthy if you have had lead exposure helps your body stay healthy.
OK， 我刚刚问到一个问题，因为我自己在跟 Jennifer 在 email 的往返的时候，有请他提供一些资料，这些资料在这边有。那我刚问的问题就是说，如果你觉得担心已经有一些铅到我们的身体里面来的时候呢，我们要怎么样能够让自己被这个铅的影响的更少？所以他刚有提到说，我们不管吃什么或者是做什么，可能没办法把铅排除在我们的体内，但是我们可以多吃一些健康的食物，多吃一些蔬菜、水果，然后还有钙质的，然后新鲜的维他命 C 的这一些比较健康的饮食，可以让这个铅的对我们身体的影响能够减轻到最低。他说铅没办法排除，是因为铅会被我们的人体会认为是钙，那它会被我们的人体认为是钙，所以它会储存在我们的骨骼里，会储存在我们的牙齿里或其他的器官里面，所以是没有办法被人体排出去的，但是可以利用一些这个我们的单张上面有写到，就可以吃一些含铁啦、含维生素 C 和含钙的这一些食品，多吃会对他们比较有帮助。Jennifer, I have one more question. Because you mentioned about the soft plastic toy to be added lead into it to make it stronger. I noticed the elementary students have some squishy. We got a lot of like squishy toys. So is that very dangerous for them?
No, most of those are totally okay. It's a few times every now and then lead will get into those, and usually when they're tested at customs coming into the US, it'll get caught and noticed, and they won't be sold. Rare, very rare. Some, and it was in the news many years ago. One toy had lead. It was Target or Toys R Us, and all over the news. They took them off sale. They let parents know. It's rare, but that is the type of toy, that kind of stretchy, squishy, but very rare. Just something to know.
我刚才问到他说，就是有一些比较软的玩具，现在小朋友他们还蛮火红的一种玩具，就是像 squish， 就是软软的那些 QQ 的。那其实现在很多大人也会玩这些东西，因为它很舒压，你可以压 squish it， 然后你可以释放一些你的压力。那这一些呢，他说相对在美国买的就是相对安全，因为我们会做检测，如果有问题的话，会马上就是会爆发很大的新闻，就我们大家都会知道，会被回收回去，所以也不用太担心。好，还有没有人有其他的问题？
Pull up the website that'll tell you that too.
Okay.
So I will share this screen. Ow. If you're not sure, if you're worried after today, about a toy or drinking water or remedies, anything we talked about, you can go to the website for the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and learn more about lead. You can also get stuff from King County, and I will leave this here, and City of Bellevue. But if you're looking for toys that may be recalled, they'll talk about it here. For toys, watch the news. Read the news, watch the news. If a toy for kids has lead, it will be in the news. But there are other things like dust we talked about and products. You can look at toys and jewelry. They have these translated. I wouldn't know what to click on, so I'm showing English, but they have information about toys and the rules. You can come and learn more. Keep learning, that's one of our actions.
好，接着分享了一个这个 Environmental Protection Agency 这一个网站。那这个网站上面其实它有不同的语言。Can you show us the language?
Yes, let me move. Can I move this? Yes, okay, there we go. All right, let me close all these parcel
这
viewers.
个它有各种不同的语言啊，那它也会有中文的一些这个说明。所以在这里面，我们对任何的食品、香料、土壤或者是玩具有疑虑的话，都可以在这边去确认一下，说是不是有在这种危险名单里面。然后再来就是有提到，就是一直永续不断学习的重要性。那看看新闻，听听新闻，就会知道，哎，你用的东西有没有问题？有问题的话，新闻就会报道出来。那刚才 Jennifer 也很肯定我们大家就是有这样子一直不断的学习的这样子的一个机会，所以希望大家 OK， 希望大家可以继续就是多吸收一些新的资讯。
I should have had this pulled up in the languages for everybody, but it was on here. Now I have to find the languages. I can find the link and send it.
对，我们下一次，我们之后Jennifer 他会把这个 link 给我们，那我们可以post 在 newsletter 上面，如果大家有兴趣的话，或者可以写信给我们，我们会把这个中文的网站 post 出来给大家。
I will show one website, King County. This one I work on a lot, so I know the language sites. If you go to the King County one, so King County has ways, and we'll send this link. Languages, it has things translated into the different. This is mostly cleaning, but there is information on lead too. So mostly cleaning, but there is information about lead and other things.
Okay.
All the way down there's the Chinese.
Okay, I knew it was somewhere on
I have
there.
to scroll all the way down. to
Okay.
about almost to about.
Is it on the lead one or just EPA?
Just EPA.
I knew it was on here. I always forget. Every website is so different. There we go.
Yes.
Now you can go and find lead information. So thank you.
OK， 所以我们有在 EPA 的网站整个那个把它拉到最下面，就可以看到中文的简体和中文的繁体。繁体贴有中文，就是有两种的不同的中文。那我们可以点我们平常惯用的那个中文的部分，就可以看到更清，就是您觉得更方便了解的知识。还有人有
When is next seminar?
Next seminar? You mean in September 3rd?
I think you mentioned at the beginning, so next week will be another.
September 24th for the safety. 9月24号我们有那个关于安全的讲座，就是我们长辈们就是人身安全，如何保护自己的人身安全，在家里或者是在外面，是市政府的警察局会帮我们来做演讲。那个也是会现场演讲，因为这个现场演讲可能会对大家更有帮助，因为它可能会有一些现场的演示，可能动作啦或者是行为，现场来看会对大家比较有帮助。在9月24号。
Thank you, Jennifer. That was very educational.
Yeah, thank you very much for your all information.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you. It is very hard to talk about lead, so I appreciate you all listening and asking questions.
OK， 谢谢大家今天的聆听，然后还有这么有趣的这么多的互动让我们能够更启发更多的。
Thank you.
谢谢大家，那我们就谢谢 Jennifer，Thank you Jennifer。我们有一个
Thank you,
Thank you so
Jennifer,
much.
very much.
我一下我们
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You
我
have
想
nice,
请
you have
我想
nice
请问
day.
一
Thank
下，
you.
明天那个这里还有工作人员吗？
星期天没有，
明天没有是吧？
对，星期日我们这边没有工作人员在这里。
嗯哼，是 ，OK。
Thank you Jennifer, and we got a certificate.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Statistics show the lead poison among children.
There are some numbers through public health, so you can look up public health. I think because of COVID, so much went untested or undone because COVID was so important that some of the data is old.
Yeah, because we never heard about this kind of incident on the news. So I'm thinking maybe it's not that important.
You usually only hear in either local news. If it's national news, it's something big like Flint, Michigan, so something very big. Otherwise, very small local news, you'd only hear about it on small newspaper.
Thank you, Jennifer, for coming to share those important information with us. Thank you. We got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
never get certificates. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll put it on.
You get it every time.
I'll be back next week.
Okay, yeah. Next time, yeah.
Yeah, and if you want safer cleaning anytime before December,
Okay.
just let us know.
Before September.
Before December.
Oh, December.
Yeah, and if we get more money, we'll come back again, but we know we're good through December.
Okay.
So when you talk about aluminum. Yeah, because I think sometimes they, especially we use a lot of the rice cooker, they might contain aluminum. People say aluminum is harmful for the people, the body. I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know the information on aluminum. I know sometimes with aluminum, because it's so weak or they'll add other metal, and that's when we get worried. Because if they add lead, that's a problem. If they add another food safe metal, it's okay. We are more worried, and we see some aluminum pots, especially that come from other cultures or that are old, that have lead in them, because they mixed aluminum and lead to make it stronger, but still light. Because people like aluminum, it's light, so you can lift it. So you have to just kind of pay attention. Again, it's rare. It's but it's still important to talk about. And so we don't want to like make people afraid. We don't want to scare people because most stuff is fine.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, we'll be on the news.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it's bad, it's bad.
Okay.
And so we balance.
Yeah, the other question I have is, what if you have your lead level in your body is too high? What would happen?
Lots of different, everybody reacts different to lead. So some people just get very tired. Some people get very sick. Some people, it drops your immune system. So you actually get really sick from the flu or a cold. And so it's not, the lead isn't what is making you feel bad. It's the virus or the bacteria. But for some people, it's cancer. And for some people, it causes brain problems and they get very forgetful. Every human does different things. Some people, their body just sticks it in their teeth and they never know. So.
Oh, that makes a good point, because sometimes you go to the dentist, the feeling might.
It depends where you got it. It's, your body thinks lead is calcium. So any part of your body that has calcium, your body will just put lead there. So your bones, things like that. So every human body is different. And that's why it's so hard to talk about. I can't say you get one rash. I can't, it's different.
Yeah, because once you get sick, you're tired, you never thought about it's lead.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And do the blood test? No.
Right. Well, and luckily it's just the finger stick. So
Yeah,
it's not, usually it's not a big, big thing, it's just.
好，
Okay.
刚刚Sophia对啊，
We're so
刚刚Sophia 也问了很多问题，如果大家有兴趣，希望我说中文的话，需要吗？如果没有的话，我们今天的下面的到这边结束。那下个礼拜六别忘了锁定我们的频道，汪九老师会来跟我们分享他的旅游。下个礼拜六是汪九老师的旅游分享，然后在下一次的健康与安全讲座是9月24号的 Bellevue 市政府警局，他们会过来现场跟我们分享如何这个保护我们自己的人身安全。好，大家下次见，拜拜。
Thank you.
Thank you， 拜拜。
Bye bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.